This is a Fonzie Studio podcast. Welcome to Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and every week I'll share with you a tale and ancient wisdom of the native tribes of North America. I'll be joined by my cats, Dawa and Fonzie, who will undoubtedly make their presence known at some point, so I might as well just list them as co-hosts. We hope you'll enjoy the tales and wisdom, raise your vibration, and enrich your life with us every week. Welcome, friends. Welcome to the 65th episode of Tales from the First Nations. I'm your host, Jay Idle. Now, last week, while we were taking a look at stories for the squirrel, I came across the tale of a flying squirrel and his adventure. Now, it is a very epic tale, and it actually reminds me a bit of an ancient Greek saga. It comes to us from the Seneca tribe, also known as the Iroquois, and it's called Flying Squirrel and the Seasons. It was too long to include in last week's episode, and I thought it would be a nice setup for what I have planned next. So please enjoy today's story. Flying Squirrel was a poor man. He could kill no game, and he didn't know how to get food for his wife and children. One day he sat from morning till evening with his head bent down, thinking what he could do. That night, just as he was going to sleep, a man came in and said, "War is being forced upon the people across the lake. They want all the assistance they can get. They have sent for you. You are to start 2 moons from now." "I will go," said Flying Squirrel. The stranger left, and Flying Squirrel fell asleep. While sleeping, he dreamed, and his dream said, "I have come to help you. You have promised to go to war. Those people will try to kill you. They will do this to find out how much power you have. I will be there and will save you." The next morning, Flying Squirrel was low-spirited. He sat with his head down. His wife asked what troubled him, but she got no answer. At midday, he raised his head and said, "I'm going to war, and I'm thinking how I am to conquer the enemy." After telling his thoughts, Flying Squirrel was no longer sad. When 2 moons had passed, he took his bow and arrows and said, "I am going now, and I may be away a long time, but I think we will all live." Flying Squirrel traveled many days without food or rest. Then he said to himself, "I am hungry." But he kept on. Just at midday, he heard a noise behind him that sounded as though some animal were following. He turned and saw 10 deer in line. He killed them all, built a fire, and roasted the meat. He ate the 10 deer and wasn't satisfied. He was still hungry, but he started on. That night, for the first time, he stopped, crawled into a hollow tree, and slept. The next morning, he was up early. He felt so much stronger that he wondered how he would feel if he slept longer. He lay down again and was just falling asleep when someone kicked the hollow tree and said, "You had better come out and go on. If you don't start soon, the animal that lives in this tree will come and kill you." "Let it come," said Flying Squirrel. Right away, he heard a great noise and felt the earth tremble. Then the tree he was in was torn to pieces. Just as enormous jaws were about to close on him, he sprang into the animal's mouth and fell on his back and its stomach. Soon he knew that the creature was running, and he thought, "This is pleasant. I'm being rocked, and it is nice and warm in here." The creature traveled for a long time, then lay down. Flying Squirrel went to sleep, and when he woke up, he thought, "It must be morning." By and by, he felt a movement and said to himself, "The person who is taking care of me is waking up." Then he knew that he was being carried along swiftly. "Now I'm traveling fast," thought he, as he rocked from side to side. When the creature was running at great speed, what seemed like a terrible gust of wind swept through him, and Flying Squirrel was blown out. He got up and, looking, saw a great black object going on ahead. Flying Squirrel thought, "Oh, what a dreadful animal has been taking care of me." The sun was in the midday of the sky, and he couldn't tell which way to go. After a while, he started, as he thought, towards the west, but he went directly north. Flying Squirrel traveled many days and nights without food or rest. Then he thought, I am hungry. That minute he heard a noise, and turning around saw 10 bears in a line. He killed the bears, then built a fire and roasted the meat. After he had eaten the last morsel, he said, I've had a meal that will last me a long time. And he went on. He traveled many moons, resting nights. Then he was stopped by a cliff so deep that he couldn't see the bottom. As he stood wondering how he could go on, he saw a man coming from the east. The man's hair was long and bright. Then he saw a man coming from the west. His hair was fiery red. As he looked, another man came from the south. He had long, light hair. Then he saw one coming the direction he himself was going. It was a man with a very long nose. The man from the east spoke to Flying Squirrel, saying, Which one of the 4 will you choose? Then the man from the west said to the man from the east, I am sorry that you got ahead and spoke first. Then he asked Flying Squirrel, Which one of the 4 will you choose? Each one of the 4 asked the same question. Then the first speaker said, We have all asked. We don't know which one he will choose, but we will put ourselves on trial, and the strongest will be the one to have to care for him. The bright-haired man said to Flying Squirrel, You who have come here are the cause of our fighting, but I warn you to be careful. Should the man from the north conquer, he will devour you. Should the man from the south conquer, he will enslave you. The man from the west is my friend, but he's not as powerful as I am. There isn't much chance of his winning. Let me talk, said the man from the west. We are proud. Each one thinks that he is the strongest. I have conquered everything I have met. I have been all over the world. I think that I am the most powerful of the 4. My friend whose hair is bright is not very powerful. All he can do is give you light. I can do anything. I can aid you in battle. Look at my hair. It is red, covered with the blood of fighting. I shall be sorry if you fail to choose me. I don't know the other 2, but I think they are man-eaters. Let me talk, said the man from the south, the flaxen-haired man. I have great strength in jumping, and I am a swift runner. When in war, people run away. I can overtake them. The man who comes from the north is a friend of mine, but he is not as powerful as I am. You should choose me. Let me talk, said the northern man. I am a man of great power. No matter how steep a place is, I can climb it. I can overpower every creature that lives in the water and all the animals that roam around in this world. Only 5 things do I fear. The Ancient of Bears, Blue Lizard, Whirlwind, the Shadow King, and Thunder. I shall be sorry if you don't pick me. Flying Squirrel didn't speak. Stand aside, said the bright-haired man. The trial of strength must begin. Let us begin fairly, said the red-haired man. Let this man make his choice before we begin. Let us have the trial first, said the flaxen-haired man. Let us have the trial first, and the one who is strongest will have the care of the man, said the long-nosed one. Now begin, said the flaxen-haired man, and he sprang towards the red-haired man. The other 2 advanced, but the red-haired man drew aside and said, Wait, let us have peace. But after a little he said, Very well, we will decide it by fighting. You all know how strong I am. The 3 consented. The 4 clinched and went down, the red-haired man in the bottom. As they struggled, he still insisted that they should have peace. But when they hurt him, he got angry and fought in earnest. Then the 3 were powerless. He pounded them, killed them all, then said to Flying Squirrel, I told you what my strength was. Now will you have my care? I'm on a journey, said Flying Squirrel. I want you to help me all you can. I want you to give me power to change myself to any form I wish for. I'm the most powerful person in the world, said the red-haired man. I am he whom you call Meteor. I am the oldest person in the world. The 3 fear me, for I have overpowered them. I will give you power. It will be the same as if I were with you. When you use this power, you must say, Grandfather, You and I have never failed in anything we have undertaken. I will give you a piece of flesh from my head and neck and down my back, long enough for a belt." Flying Squirrel took his flint knife and cut out the piece of flesh. When he was through, the red-haired man appeared to be dead, but as Flying Squirrel looked at the wound, he saw the edges come together and heal. That minute the man said, "You see what power I have. I cannot die. As for the men you saw me kill, I only sent them home. They are not dead. Now go in the direction I came from, and do all you can to help yourself. The bright-haired man will soon be here, and it would not be well for us to be together when he comes. I am going." The red-haired man leapt into the air, and giving a whoop, called out, "I am the strongest person in the world. No one can conquer me." As he traveled, there were sparks in the air. Flying Squirrel felt limber and strong, and he ran on swiftly till night came. Then he lay down under a tree. He was almost asleep when he heard footsteps on the dry leaves. Then a voice said, "Flying Squirrel, I'm in search of you. I am sent by the red-haired man. During the night, men will come and try to get the belt you are wearing, but nothing will happen, for I will be here. Help me gather wood. We must have a fire." The two gathered wood and made a big fire. As it blazed up, they heard one voice, and then another, and another, till there were voices everywhere, and these voices said, "Throw away what you have around your waist. It isn't good for you. It will poison you." Their cries increased, and their numbers increased. Flying Squirrel said in his own mind, "If the fire wasn't here, that great crowd of people would pounce upon me and kill me." He didn't see these men, for they were in the dark. They didn't come even to the edge of the light thrown out by the fire. They cried louder and louder, till just before dawn. Then their cries began to recede, and at daybreak all was silent. Flying Squirrel's protector said, "You are safe now. Go on in the same direction. At midday, you will come to a fallen tree. I will meet you there." Flying Squirrel went on till he came to the tree and passed it. He didn't remember the man's words till he came to a second tree. Then he said to himself, "I should have stopped at the first tree." And he was about to turn back when he thought, "What good will it do? I'm on a journey. I'll not turn back. If he wanted to give me food, I don't care for it. I'm not hungry." And he traveled on. When the night came, he lay down by a tree. Soon he heard footsteps. Someone stopped near him and said, "I have come to keep you company. There's a person with me. You may sleep. We will build a fire." The sun was in the sky when Flying Squirrel woke up. There was no one around. Those who had come in the night had disappeared. A great many nights passed in the same way. As soon as darkness came and Flying Squirrel lay down to sleep, two men came to protect him, and just as daylight, they disappeared. At last he came to a precipice and could go no further. Then he remembered that his friend had given him the power to change into any form he wished. "My friend," said he, "I will be a black eagle and go down into the ravine and look around." That minute he was an eagle. He flapped his wings, flew off and came back, then flew off quite a distance and began to sink down. After a time he saw that there were trees under him. Then he sank as fast as he could and soon was in a beautiful country. He saw a great patch of strawberries. He picked and ate as many as he wanted. Then, taking his own form, he went on till he came to a house. Stealing up to the house, he looked through the crack and saw a very old woman with long white hair. She was sitting with her head down, but raised it and said, "Game has come to me. I smell it." "This woman wants to kill me," thought Flying Squirrel. "If she touches me, I'll cut off her head." The second time the woman said, "I smell game." Then she called, "Grandson, come in. Why do you stand out there?" "It seems this old woman is my grandmother," said Flying Squirrel. "I'll go in." The woman said, "I heard a long time ago that you were coming. You have been invited by my grandchildren who live beyond the lake. I will carry you over there." This woman was Old Caterpillar, and she was called the Long-Haired Woman. "I don't want you to carry me over," said Flying Squirrel. "I can get there myself." "Well, grandson, I have a game that I play with those who come here. We take mallets, go to an opening near here and run. As we overtake each other, we strike with the mallet." "Very well," said Flying Squirrel, "but you must lend me a mallet." The old woman brought 2 mallets and said, "Take your choice." One was good, the other was old. He took the old one, and they started for the opening. Just as they came to the edge of the field, the old woman struck Flying Squirrel a heavy blow and ran. He ran after her, overtook her, and struck her. She fell, but was soon up and after him. Then she struck at Flying Squirrel a second time. He dodged, and the mallet came down on her knee. They kept this game up till sunset. Then the old woman said, "Let us rest a while." Flying Squirrel sat down, but Caterpillar struck him and ran. This time she went along the edge of a high cliff. All at once she turned and gave Flying Squirrel such a push that he went over the cliff. He fell into a river, and a great fish swallowed him. Soon he heard a woman say, "Sister, we have caught a fish in our trap. Help me get it out." These sisters were the tip-up, the water bird family. The woman got the fish to the bank and cut it open. "Oh, sister," cried one of the women, "there's a child in this fish. Hurry and tell our mother to come." Flying Squirrel had changed into an infant. When old Tip-Up came, she said, "This boy will be my grandson." The 3 women took good care of the child. It grew very fast and soon walked and talked. One day, the boy began to cry. "What's the trouble, grandson?" asked the old woman. "My grandmother," said the boy. "I am lonesome. I want to see my friends." "Stop crying, grandson. I will give you something to play with." She gave him a bright red fox skin of wonderful power. He stopped crying and was happy. One day the boy said, "I am going into the woods to shoot birds." The woman cautioned him not to go toward the south. He hunted a long time but found no birds. While off in the south, he heard the beautiful songs of many birds. At last he turned and went towards the south. As he advanced, the singing receded. He followed on it until he came to an opening and saw a house. He crept up to the house. Looking in through a crack, he saw the long-haired woman who had pushed him over the cliff. She raised her head and said, "Well, grandson, come in. Why do you stand outside?" When the boy went in, the old grandmother said, "I have been expecting you. I have a game that I play with those who come here." "Very well," said the boy, for he knew what the game was now. Now he thought, "I will serve her as she served me." They went to the opening. After they had struck each other a number of times, the woman ran along the edge of a high cliff, intending in turn to push the boy over. But he overtook her quickly, gave her a terrible push, and sent her over the cliff. "There," said he, "I have thrown her off as she threw me. Now I will burn her house." When the house was in ashes, the boy went home. On the way, he killed a turkey. While the sisters were cooking the turkey, they noticed that the boy looked frightened. "What's the trouble, grandson?" asked the old woman. "I'm afraid you will scold me. I have killed the long-haired woman." "We are glad," said the sisters. "She has done us great harm. Now you can go in any direction you like. That woman lived in the south, and we were afraid that she might kill you." One day the boy said, "I am traveling. I'm on my way to war. I cannot stay here any longer." The women urged and coaxed, but the boy wouldn't listen to them. He started off. After a while, he came to a lake. As he stood looking at the water and pondering how he could get to the other side, he remembered that once he had the power of flying, and he said in his mind, "I will see if I have that power now." Taking his own form, he went back a short distance, then he ran forward, and as his feet struck the water, he gave a spring and went into the air. He came down as he touched the water. He sprang up again, going forward somewhat. In this way he traveled 2 days and nights, then reached land. He was hungry. As he looked for game, he happened to think of his belt, and that the man who gave it to him had promised to help him. Then he said, "I wish my grandfather would send me a deer." That minute, a deer was in sight. Flying Squirrel killed it, then built a fire and roasted some of the meat. He ate and was satisfied, thanked his grandfather, and went on through the forest. One morning he saw a light ahead and soon came to a large opening. At one side of the opening was a village. Flying Squirrel went to the village and found that the people who lived there were the people who had summoned him to war. The chief said to the warriors who stood around, "You must test the strength of this man." The warriors ran at Flying Squirrel, struck him with their clubs and knocked him down, but he sprang up and fought with them, fought till he had conquered them all, though he had only his hands to fight with. These people were robins. The chief of the robins said to Flying Squirrel, "I see that you have great power. In the center of our village is a pole covered with ice. Whoever climbs to the top of that pole may marry my daughter. Tomorrow the people will assemble, and each man will try to climb the pole." Flying Squirrel went to a hut at the edge of the village and asked shelter of an old woman who lived there with her granddaughter. "I have nothing to eat," said the woman. "I don't want food," said Flying Squirrel. She gave him a place to sleep. The next morning there was plenty of meat in the hut. Flying Squirrel had wished for it. He went to the center of the village where many people were assembled, and just at the midday, the chief said, "The time has come." One man after another tried to climb the pole. The first man went only a short distance. The second went a little further. The third went still further, and on until all had tried but fallen back. Then Flying Squirrel walked up to the pole, spat on his hands, and began to climb. He went up easily, got to the top, and called out, "Shall I go further?" "No, come down," said the chief. The chief thanked the young man and said, "My daughter is your wife." The people were angry. They caught Flying Squirrel, took him to a hole between high rocks, and fastened him in. He made a motion with his hand. The rocks fell away. "Why should I stay here?" thought he. "I will claim my wife." Another man had claimed the chief's daughter. Flying Squirrel caught that man by the hair and cut off his head. The dead man's friend seized Flying Squirrel, tied him, and took him to the back of the hole in the rocks. When they found the rocks were destroyed, they took him to a second hole and fastened him in securely. He moved his hands, and the rocks fell apart. Flying Squirrel went to the chief's house and said, "The next time your people seize me, I will destroy everybody in this village." Now the people decided to kill Flying Squirrel by burning him. They piled up a great many logs and dead limbs, leaving a hole in the center of the pile. They caught Flying Squirrel, tied him up in a bundle, dropped him in the hole, and set fire to the pile. "These people mean to burn me up," thought Flying Squirrel. "I'll wait till the fire gets to burning blazing up high." After a while he moved slightly. The cords that bound him loosened and fell off. He moved again. Fire and cinders flew in every direction. Flying Squirrel went to the chief's house and said to his wife, "I warned your father of what I would do if the people seized me again. Now I will destroy you all." The woman screamed and begged. Then the chief came to see what the trouble was. She said, "My husband is going to destroy you and all of our people." The chief begged him not to do this, called him friend, and said that he did not know what the people were doing, that in the morrow war would begin. At last Flying Squirrel forgot his anger. The warriors were to start at midday. Flying Squirrel did not wait for them. Early in the morning he set out alone. On the way he came to a large flat stone. He sat down on the stone, then ground it into dust with a basswood club. Taking a handful of dust, he threw it west in the direction of the enemy country. The dust became a cloud, and then a whirlwind, and Flying Squirrel went with it. He was at the center of the whirlwind. As the whirlwind approached the enemy's village, Flying Squirrel saw a great many warriors sitting near a large mound. These warriors were the ant family. When Flying Squirrel reached the mound, he plunged into the ground. The whirlwind following him. He ran north and south, went from one end of the mound to the other. The whirlwind killed every man that it passed, threw the dirt into the air, and leveled the mound. When Flying Squirrel saw another mound lower than the first, but longer, he plunged into it and was halfway through when the chief of the ants and his warriors came and, seeing what was taking place, began to fight. Flying Squirrel defended himself, used all his strength and swiftness. Just at midday, the whirlwind died down and Flying Squirrel was left to struggle alone. The top of the mound fell off. When the battle was out in the open, other warriors came to help their chief, but soon Robin and his men came up, and with Flying Squirrel's help, they defeated the enemy. Then the chief said to Flying Squirrel, "You are free now. What we called you for is accomplished." Flying Squirrel went to the chief's daughter and said, "Get ready, we will go home." They started, but after one day's journey, they were overtaken by the woman's people. The woman was killed, but Flying Squirrel got away, changed to an eagle, and went to his grandmother's house, then took his own form. He looked so old that his grandmother didn't know him. She asked, "Who are you and where did you come from?" When he told her who he was, then she was glad that he had come. He said, "I'm going to my own home. I have a wife and children." Then he started. He changed to a deer and ran with great swiftness. But all at once, he was in a hunting camp. The hunters sprang up and followed him, but he was so swift that after a while they gave up and turned back. Flying Squirrel came to a lake and stopped. He didn't know how to get to the other side. He forgot his belt. He started to walk around the lake. The cliff grew higher and higher. He went along the edge of the cliff till he came to loose earth. Then he slipped and fell. As he fell, he thought, "If I were a bird, I could save myself." That minute, he was an eagle. He flew high and far. Then, looking down, he recognized the place he was passing, and coming to the ground, he took his own form. Going cautiously toward a house, he looked through a crack and saw an old man smoking. As he looked, the old man called out, "Come in, nephew. Why do you stand outside?" "I found my uncle," said Flying Squirrel, laughing. "I will go in and see what he wants." "You have been gone a long time," said the old man. "Now we will play ball." "That is the game I amuse myself with," said Flying Squirrel. The old man's ball was a head. The clubs were sticks, split at the end and tied apart with bark strings. They put their clubs against the head. It went towards the old man's inning. Both ran after it. Flying Squirrel got the ball and, hitting it a blow with the butt of his club, said, "You don't know how to play ball." The ball went to Flying Squirrel's inning, and he won the game. The old man begged for a few puffs of smoke. "You'll not get them," said Flying Squirrel. "I would not have asked you for them if you had won." And he cut off the old man's head. Flying Squirrel traveled on till he heard voices. Then, hiding behind a stump, he listened. A woman said, "My husband must be dead. If he were alive, he would come home." A second woman said, "Don't cry. My son wants you for a wife. I think your husband has another wife." Flying Squirrel made himself invisible and followed the woman. He heard the younger one promise to marry the elder one's son. Then the two parted. The younger woman was Flying Squirrel's wife. Flying Squirrel entered the house with his wife. While she and the children were eating, he made a noise. When she turned to see what caused the noise, he caught up a piece of meat and threw it at her. She thought her daughter threw the meat, and catching up a club, she began to beat the girl. Then Flying Squirrel took his own form and asked, "Why do you beat the children? I threw the meat." The woman was frightened, and she promised never to strike the children again. Right away, she sent her daughter to tell the old woman that Flying Squirrel had come home. Now Flying Squirrel and his wife settled down in peace. Flying Squirrel had the belt given to him by the red-haired man, so he always had great power, and food was never lacking in his house. The four men described as coming from the north, south, east, and west are said to personify the seasons. Flying Squirrel had quite the adventure, didn't he? Whoa, what an epic journey. Kind of reminds me of Odysseus in the Odyssey. It's pretty crazy, his big long journey home from the Trojan War. Well, I thought this story had a nice tie into last week's episode about the squirrels, and I wanted to use it to launch into a new segment about the 4 seasons that will start next week. So, I hope you enjoyed the extremely epic tale of Flying Squirrel. It's with respect and gratitude that I offer you my blessings, and thank you for sharing my journey with me and sharing your time with me on this podcast. I wish you well and look forward to sharing another story with you next week. Go in peace, return in peace, and may you be well. If you enjoy the podcast, please like and review it in your podcast service. It's the best way to help us grow. And feel free to reach out to us. Use the contact information in the episode link if there's a topic you'd like us to talk about. Our story today comes from sacred-texts.com and is told by John Jimison. For more great stories and legends, join me next week right here, where we'll give you another tale on Tales from the First Nations. I'm Jay Idle, and I'll talk to you next time. The beautiful music you're listening to right now is provided by my dear friend Scott Brocklesby, and our podcast Image of the Moon was provided by Mark Lawton. We will see you next time. All right, that's it. How'd we do, Dawa?
Awesome.
Phones? Excellent. Then I'll share it.